thank you. And we're very excited, and we're just getting started. So this is just the beginning. I expect a lot more. Our meat is actually available already in a handful of restaurants in London, Amsterdam, and Berlin. It's not just the contract. It's the fact that our meat products, which we call new meat, are available to the chefs and to the consumers in those cities. Mostly in London, especially with Marco Pierre White, we already have reactions of people that tasted our products there in restaurants like Chateau Mate in London and a few others in Amsterdam and Berlin. And this is just the first rollout. We're continuing to expand to more places in those countries and more products. Of course, in Tel Aviv and all across Israel, we're close to 200 restaurants. We have in Eilat, we have in Carmiel, and mostly in Tel Aviv, great places serving many different dishes of our meat already now. And we're moving the production capacity to much larger scale and becoming much more international. Literally now, it's not in a year from now. It's happening every day.
Yeah, Eshchar, of course, you guys have competitors. You have competition here in Israel with other Israeli-based alternative meat companies. There's competition from American and European companies as well. What makes you guys different? What sets you apart?
The biggest competition is meat companies, because when today people go and buy meat products, they buy them from an animal, from meat companies. All of the startups that you mentioned, we are friends and we're helping each other because our market is so tiny that every competitor expanded at some degree. We're the first company in the world that is not a meat company, that doesn't rely on a cow, that launch what we call whole cuts, so steaks, roast, and stews. And this sets us apart because our products are not only in our lab in Rehovot, they're actually served in restaurants in Israel and a handful of restaurants in Europe. So that makes us unique, and that's thanks to a unique technology that we developed in the past 3.5 years that we also scaled and moved to production, which is very, very unique in this space. And as I said, people consume now meat from animals, and we want them to consume from our technology, from plant-based ingredients, which are healthy and sustainable. Companies working to the same mission, to the same aim, is not taking anything from Redefine Meat, it's just taking more and more from the meat industry.
Eshchar, I mean, these are 3D printed products, right? How do you kind of print it out? And what is the ink that you're using, the ink, so to speak, and that makes it taste like meat?
Yeah. So the term 3D printing is not so accurate. We call it additive manufacturing. 3D printing generally relates to making a shape of an object. Here, we care about the shape, but we care more about the texture, the flavor, the composition of the product. So we make building blocks. We also don't like the term ink. Ink is not very food appealing. We make building blocks that are protein, fats, and colors and natural flavors. We call them muscle, fat, and blood. They're all made from plants. They're all approved for consumption in Israel and in Europe as well. Very similar to food products that you know, soy, coconut, beetroot. But the way we bring them together through additive manufacturing is, instead of making a food product in a bulk, we make it fiber by fiber, layer by layer, very accurately, very precisely, controlling things like texture, but also flavor release in your mouth, and all the mechanical and chemical properties you expect from a food product that is meat,
yes,
that you experience today.
So to speak, that is the holy grail, as we just heard your co-founder mention it. I mean, many of these companies are hamburger, minced meat companies. The idea, though, if you're going to have whole cuts, beef-like cuts or lamb-like cuts, you have to have that fibrous texture. I love meat. I'm a meat eater. I mean, there's something so delicious and appetizing about the way that the meat tastes, the fiber of it. How do you replicate that effectively?
So we are wired to enjoy this experience. It's in our DNA. And actually, it's the combination of the ingredients themselves, but most of all, how we bring them together, how we actually produce our product in a layered way with a direction very similar to how a cow builds its muscle structure. What you eat is a muscle of an animal that was built throughout its movement and its lifespan. And our machine is basically a robot that replicates this natural process in an animal's body using plant-based ingredients. It's something we have 10 patents on, some published, some not. And it's related mostly to the texture of the fibers, what we call anisotropic nature of a food product. One that when you bite from different direction, give you different sensations of texture, flavor release, and it also affects the cooking properties. That's the core of Redefine Meat. It's the holy grail, not just because you like meat, because the meat industry grows cows for steaks. What we have left, the hamburgers, the sausages, are basically the side stream of the meat industry. So if we want to make an impact, if we want to change the world for better, we need to start from the steak.
Yeah.
And it's not only steak, it's also stews, roast, and everything that comes out of an animal. It's mostly the fiber structure.
Really?
That's it.
Yeah, really exciting development on the cutting edge, Redefine Meat. Eshchar, congratulations on your success in the booming business. Thanks for breaking it down for us a little bit here on the Zoom In Show. Great to have you.
Thank you. And just go to one of the restaurants that carry Redefine Meat and try for yourself, and you'll see that it's possible to create meat without animals.
All right. Thank you, Eshchar. Yeah, about 200 restaurants here in Israel with the Redefine Meat products.